All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Stroke of Success interview. As y'all know, I like to talk to entrepreneurs that have special stories, have gone through setbacks like myself. And today's guest is very special. I'm gonna give a little history to the audience how I met today's guest. So my wife came across his ex-business partner, and they were doing an amazing mastermind in Jacksonville. We got excited. We got our nanny to come with us to watch the kids, and we went to Jacksonville, and I met Diego Corzo. I met his brother, and that was 2 to 3 days, amazing mastermind. Myself, I made friends with Naaman Taylor, who was on my show last week. Obviously, Diego is a good buddy of mine, and we talk quite often. Next week or the week after, it's going to be, I think, Anton's going to join me. So that mastermind, and this is an example for y'all who are sitting on the sidelines and don't want to invest in masterminds. It's too much money. You're missing out because not only the topic you learn, but also the people you connect with is super important. Today's guest is special to me, but I read his history and the stuff he's been through. I think today you get a lot of value. So without any further ado, welcome, Diego. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, Karam, thank you very much for this opportunity. And yeah, I'm always happy to share my story. And one of the things that you mentioned that is really important is the power of the mastermind, right? And I'll share part of my story of how going into one of those rooms, just like what you went to, I got super fortunate and my whole life changed by deciding to invest in myself, where some people were like, why are you going to pay so much to go to an event? And everything skyrocketed from there. So very excited. Yes. Thank you for the opportunity, and can't wait to see where this goes.
Awesome. Thank you for joining, Diego. So let's start from childhood, Diego. What country were you born in?
Yeah, so I was born in Lima, Peru.
Okay.
Lima, Peru, and I came to the United States when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mom and dad together or separate, or what's the story?
Mom and dad together. Yes.
Good. Mm-hmm. Was it middle class, high class, working class?
In Peru, I would say we were lower to middle class.
Okay.
We were doing fine. But it wasn't, but what caused us to move here was a better future, because my dad couldn't find a job. My mom was doing well as operator of a bank. But my dad just couldn't find a job. He tried owning a restaurant, wasn't working. Then my mom's car got stolen. Then my mom's she got pickpocketed and with a knife, and one time with a gun. So they're like, okay, we're good. And but thankfully, the four of us, my brother, he was 3 years old. We all came together in 1999 to the United States.
1999. Okay, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
22,
yes.
22.
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, 24 years ago. Your brother, what's your brother's name?
Gonzalo Corzo.
And he's looking for work, right? He's a loser, right? I mean, he's sarcastic.
Of course.
Your brother's story, I'm gonna have him come on next. I mean, your parents did something right with both of you. I mean, I met him, had the privilege to meet your brother and talk to him with you. What do you think your parents did with you both that you became these amazing entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? Because Ed Milet, he has I've heard him speak multiple times, and he always shares that in your family there's this one, right? It's like you gotta be the one. And with my brother, I'm like, Gonzalo, I think in our family there's two of us. Because of the fact that we were ingrained. Okay, so to answer your question, right, I think that our parents set us up with a great example. Number one, they ingrained in us the work ethic. Number two, even though they wanted us to go to college and to get a cushy job and everything, and I did that. I got into college, I went to General Motors, started as a software developer, right? But they always ingrained in my dad from the beginning, and my mom too, is entrepreneurship. they would always do something, whether they had their business, there was always something that they did on the side too. And when I got my job, I was like, I cannot just go after 5 p.m. and watch Netflix. I got to do something else. So they gave us work ethic. They showed us resourcefulness. And what my dad told me when we came to the United States is that this is the land of opportunity, but it is up to us to find it. So between that and also the other thing is I am undocumented. So I am what DACA, I am a DACA recipient. I am what Congress calls a dreamer. So we came here with a visa, we overstayed, we became undocumented. And now I'm in this limbo of like, I'm not a citizen, I don't have a green card or anything. But my mom always said, Diego, look, you can achieve anything that you want to achieve in this country. You just have to work a little bit harder. And they set that example for us because they did work their butt off to get us to where they are now. And now they can take time off. Now they have their businesses and all that stuff too, and real estate. But the main thing is in those years, like I remember I was on the boat with my parents, and my cousin is like, oh my gosh, you guys, like in Sarasota, right? Amazing, amazing water, everything. And my cousin is like, you guys are living the life. And my mom was like, now. But when we first got started for 2 to 3 years, we didn't take a day off. Back in from 1999 to like 2001, no days off. It was just working and working and working.
7 days a week.
I saw that. Yes,
Wow.
I saw that. My parents, and we were in Miami when we moved here. So what does this mean? This meant that like my parents would work on a Friday at a restaurant from 11 to 10 p.m. And then live music would go, or like karaoke was on Fridays from 10 p.m. to like 4 or 5 a.m. And then we would be there at the restaurant in one of the rooms sleeping, my brother and I. And then we would have to wake up the next morning. They will take us to the restaurant again at 11 a.m. And they would work from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then live music will start till 5 a.m. And my brother and I would be there in the restaurant again. So we saw firsthand like work ethic and what it had to, the sacrifices that they had to go through so that they could provide for my brother and I. And yeah.
I mean, another thing is too, I want to point out to the audience, meeting both brothers, humility. I know of individuals who become amazing investors and entrepreneurs and speakers like Diego is. For those who don't know, and I'm gonna tag everything on this video, a TEDx speaker, their head goes up in the sky. However, Diego's been able to maintain humility. Tell me about that. Like, what do you think has been the proponent of that happening?
Yeah, I think it comes to being a servant leader. And I was given, like, I'm a student of life, right? And when you're a student of life, there's always something to learn. So I try to be like the dumbest in the room, right? And understanding that I don't have to put other people down to lift myself up. There's enough, now I also come from abundance, right? So there is not, some people have a scarcity mentality where it's like, oh, if I don't get this deal, like I'm going to beat everybody else and that's it. I'm not that way. I'm like, look, I'm going to get it if it's the right thing for me. And if not, I move on. And there's many more deals, right? What's crazy is I have a real estate team here in Austin, Texas. And we've been the #1 team since 2020, selling between 200 to 300 homes every year. And we spend no money on marketing. Everything is through referrals. So imagine that, 200 to 300 homes, 8 agents, and through market, like it's literally, and it wasn't until like a couple of months ago, nobody even called. It was just our sphere connecting, sharing our stories on Instagram and everything, but trying to share our stories and and just coming from a side of like educating, right? But to answer your question on the humility, my parents always taught me too, is like, hey, you're never like, you can go from up here to down here. And because here's the key thing too, now that I think about it, when we moved to the States, we moved and we lived in my aunt's house, and like they were house hacking and I didn't even know, right? So we moved into my aunt's house and we lived in a room on a bunk bed for like 3 months, from August to like October, November, I think. And so like we came here with zero. We started from zero. Our car, my parents bought it. I remember this. So we used to call the van El Tren Fantasma, which means a ghost train, because we never knew if it was going to work, if it was going to turn on, if the radio was going to turn on, if the AC was going to work. So like there were times where like if my mom braked on a red light, the car might turn off, right? So it was $800. It didn't even come with seats in the back for the van, just the 2 front seats, and then my parents had to buy the seats and stuff, right? But we came from zero. And when you start from zero and there was still love in the family, we still enjoyed life. Like there was everything that we needed was always there, right? Which is like love, food, shelter, good times with family. Then comes money, and like, sure, but we can always go down and we were okay, right? So when you have that mentality of like, look, I can lose it all and I'll still be fine. I'm not materialistic. I can eat in fine dining restaurants or go to like a taco shop, right? Like it doesn't really matter. And there's always something from like connecting with other people. When you're a learner, like I remember at different jobs, I make friends with the janitors, with the security people, with just everybody. Not just like, oh, I'm only going to connect with the managers or whatever, right? So that humility comes in from, I used to be a waiter too, right? So yeah, there's just a lot, but a lot came from my parents. Seeing my mom go from being a operator, like head operator at a bank in Peru, to putting ice on bags at a 7-Eleven when we moved here in the States, right? And my mom was always telling me, hey, you're never too low to clean bathrooms or whatever. And that was the example for me.
Now you put something else in my mind to ask you about. We'll just go on with that. I'll come back to your degree in a second.
Yeah.
You said something that it doesn't matter to eat tacos or materialistic stuff. I noticed your brother, I got to know about his wholesaling operation is massive. His partner, business partner, Dominic, amazing individual. Even those two are so humble, and you would think, when you in the real estate business, there's a lot of shiny, bougie, like attitudes. I'm a little bougie. I'll be honest with you. I like the final things in life, right? I'm from Brooklyn, New York, right? Poor family. But you said something like, look, you're financially free, but like, you don't care about the bouginess. You don't care about designer clothes. You don't care about and you somewhere on your video as we're watching, you said something about, one of your articles that you have a tight budget you live on. Is that still the case, by the way? You still have a budget?
Yeah. So, I mean, I, like, even though I have like to share right now, right? Like last year I sold over 50, well, in 2021, I sold like 50 homes by myself, like with my team selling 200 or 250. I have 62 rentals. So I achieved financial independence by 27, and became a millionaire at 29. And I still live off, my expenses are still like under 10,000. Even though I can spend so much more, I don't. But yes, but in the beginning, I kept that budget of like 3,000 to 5,000. And that 10,000 that I mentioned, it includes a lot of different things. Like it includes me traveling and doing stuff. But keep in mind that throughout that journey, like I couldn't work or drive till I was 22, right? So a lot of it has been of me creating a life where, like, if I get deported or if anything happens, I am good with my passive income. And understanding that life is a marathon, not a sprint, that has been for me the thing of like building. Here's a quote that it came from a guy named Adam Carroll that changed my life. He said, build a bigger life, not a bigger lifestyle. When you build a bigger life, you ask yourself, what does that mean for me? And for me, it meant experiences with my family, experiences of travel. It didn't mean getting the nicest sofa or getting the new iPhone or getting a new car every 2 years, right? That's not what it meant for me. What meant for me is doing the things that I love.
That's insane. That's insane. I'm so happy to see the people that are out there that are doing that. Let's go back to you. So you said you went to college and you got a degree in IT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk about that.
Technology.
What made you pick IT?
Yeah. So I graduated high school. And my uncle, I had an uncle who was in tech. Like he was always doing computer stuff. And I remember because I was at the restaurant industry, because I was at the restaurant from when my parents worked at the restaurant to then later owning restaurants. I was like, I do not want to be in the restaurant business, just because I knew how much hard work it needed. So I was like, I'm just gonna focus in computers. And because my uncle had the computers in his house and all of that. And then I got an email back in like 1999, or no, in 2001, 2000, I got my first email, and I fell in love with it. Then I started to learn how to make websites. And then when I graduated high school, I knew that I wanted to study something with business and IT. So I got 2 degrees. I got a degree in management information systems and a degree in information technology from Florida State University. But the whole journey was definitely a challenge, right? And a lot of it is like me accomplishing my goals. But for some reason, it's always some kind of adversity that I had to go through to be able to make it happen. So basically, I graduate. So I'm at age 15, I found out that I couldn't qualify for student loans or financial aid. I'm sorry, at age 15, my bad. At age 15, I found out I couldn't get a driver's license because of my paperwork, because I don't have the documents, right? At age 18, when I'm going through college, I found out that I can't get financial aid or student loans or scholarships because I don't have a green card. I thought that just by getting straight A's, I graduated third in my high school class. I thought that would be enough, but not for financial aid. So I had to figure out a way. And being in technology, I was like, look, I can make websites for like small businesses. I can learn how to do that. And in me going into tech, I wanted to work on the software side or on the hardware side, but I picked Florida State University. I go there and I had enough money to pay for college for 1 year. But I won scholarships, but some were taken back because I couldn't show that I had a green card. And then the other ones with financial aid, I just couldn't. So there were like Pell grants and all these grants that my friends got. Some got student loans. I couldn't qualify, but it was just another challenge. And thankfully my parents supported me as well. And that's where I began trying to learn as much as I could. And in that, I said yes to working for free on an internship so that I could get experience doing websites. And then that company wanted to hire me. As I go through the hiring process, I found out that I'm doing everything that they told me. I'm 19 years old now. I'm like, great, this is going to be my way to pay for college, doing websites. And as I go through that process, they tell me, Diego, everything is looking good. We just need your work authorization. I'm like, great. I call my mom and she says, Diego, we don't have work authorization. It's like, oh my gosh. So this means that at age 19, cannot drive, cannot work, can't get student loans, all of that stuff. But I found out that I could still open up my own LLC through my ITIN number, through a tax identification number. So that's what I did. I created my own LLC. So because Uncle Sam still wants to get their taxes, right? So even though I couldn't work as Diego Corzo, I could work as an LLC. And that's how I was able to pay for college. And I was able to graduate with 2 degrees in less than 4 years in the top 1% of Florida State University. And it was right at that time. This was going to be crazy because I was literally about to graduate with 2 degrees, top 1%. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, because I cannot drive, right? And I have this great education. I'm working, I'm doing these things, but I'm driving my bike to work. I'm riding my bike because this is like 2010, 2011, 2012. So no Uber, no Lyft back then. So I literally have like, if I set up meetings, I have a suit in my backpack and a towel, riding my bike, dry off in the summer heat, like change into my suit, do the meeting, go back, change into the sweaty gym clothes and ride my bike back home. And I was like, okay, this can only go on for so long. And I can drive, I could do that, but if something happens, I can get stopped, a cop can stop me, then takes me to the place and I get deported. So I didn't want to risk it if it wasn't unnecessary. And, but right there in 2012 was when Obama passes the DACA program. And that is what finally allowed me. DACA was something that says, hey, if you came here as a kid and you graduate from high school and you're a good citizen to society, right? Even though I'm not a citizen, but a good person in society. And
no
you tell
records,
us
no domestic abuse stuff.
Yeah,
Clear
no
records,
misdemeanors, no nothing,
yeah.
no drugs or anything.
Makes sense. Good program. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like you can renew your documents every 2 years, pay a fee, tell us everything about you, and you can get your driver's license and a work permit. And that, as I was graduating, that's when that happened. So I began interviewing for jobs, and that's when General Motors hires me. And in that interview, the guy says, "You've done work. Like, you're not just like a student that has taken classes. Like, you've actually worked." I'm like, "Yeah, I had to work to go to college." He's like, "All right, we're gonna hire you. Do you want to go to Detroit or Austin?" And my response was, "I don't like the snow, so I'm not going to Detroit. I'm going to Austin." And yeah, a few months later, I graduated college and I moved to Austin, Texas, and I've been here ever since.
Diego, just you know what? Just imagine if this entrepreneurship journey never would start, and let's just say you were just a GM IT person. That itself is many people's dream. Right? So I'll give you an example. My parents are from Pakistan. I was born in New York City. I have the privilege, the head start versus you. I'm an American citizen. But I have relatives in Pakistan and India that they'll look at your story like, wow, that's their end goal, is where you kind of started your journey. It's insane. So that by itself, imagine that was it. Should be grateful, right? Good job, 9 to 5, insurance, benefits, cushy, big corporation. But interesting. Do you believe? Have you heard of the law of attraction?
Oh, 100%.
So you're a believer?
Yes.
Insane, because the whole story, how that time, the timing was perfect. Where Obama released this program. I remember back then hearing about it in the news. They came at the perfect time. Everything got aligned, and here you are in this nice corporate job in Austin, Texas. Which, by the way, city is booming. The state is booming.
Yes.
Like Florida, I think we both compete. Florida and Dallas, Texas, and Austin, Texas, we compete because the market's hot, corporations there. It's a more relaxed of a state in some ways. Awesome. So here we are, General Motors. Good job. Proud of yourself. Pat on the back. What happened after that? Do you say you to not to stop there and continue with the dream?
Yeah. So what ended up happening is that when I was in college, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that book taught me two things. You can either trade your time for money or you can make your money work for you.
Sure.
So I knew that, okay, I was totally fine trading my time for money, working as a salary job and everything at General Motors, but I needed to learn how to make my money work for me. So I set up a goal back then to buy 10 properties by age 35. I figured, I read that book when I was like 21. I'm going to get that job. I'm going to save some money. By the age that I'm 25, I'll buy a house. And if I buy one house every year, then I'm golden. By age 35, I'll have 10. Great. So when I moved to Austin, I'm like, okay, I need to learn about the market. And when I moved to Austin too, I rented a room on Craigslist. So even though I was making good money, I was making $5,000 a month as a college grad back in 2012. So it was pretty good. My rent was $500 and I was living with 3 other roommates. So I was like, this guy owns that house. We're paying him. I want to do that. That strategy is called house hacking. So then I wanted to start house hacking here in Austin. I meet up with a realtor, and as I'm going through that process of me wanting to buy a home, I told the lenders, I speak with a lot of lenders, and everybody's like, we don't know what DACA is, because it's like 6 months old, right? So it's like, why don't you have a green card? Like, you have a social security, but not a green card. How are you here? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm educating, and the lenders have no idea. I found one lender, and he tells me, hey, yes. And I tell him, I don't have a green card. He's like, no, it should be fine. 2 weeks before closing, the lender calls me. He's like, Diego, we need a green card. And I'm like, I told you I don't have one. He's like, well, then we cannot give you the loan. So I was crushed. And because that was going to be my goal. Well, what ended up happening is I felt bad for that realtor. So I was like, look, I wasted your time. We did inspections all that time. Why don't I'm pretty good with tech. Let me help you do something to help your business. So in me doing that, we became friends. And then later, I told him, hey, can I drive you around? Can I just drive you for free on the weekends and see if I like this realtor thing? Because even though I can't buy a house right now, I want to I want to learn about the market, and maybe this will be good. So I drove him around for free 2 weekends, and I was like, I like this realtor stuff. So I ended up getting my license. And while that happened, I got my license in 2014. I was able to find a lender to finally give me, as a DACA recipient, a loan, 5% down, buy my property. And I began to basically live for free. I was a realtor at that time too. So I used my commission, and part-time. I was doing everything part-time. And so I bought a home for 170,000. That's now worth like 350. And 5% down, lived in the master, rented out each room. And now I was living for free and making around $200 to $300. And that paid for my car payment. And because I didn't have student loans or credit card debt or anything, because I couldn't get into student loans, I couldn't get into that. It was a blessing in disguise. I had that opportunity to basically to live for free. And since age of 24, I'm 32 now, living for free and car payment for free. Other people were paying it, right? So then my head is like, okay, other people are collecting liabilities. Other people are collecting bills. I was like, how can I get assets that pay for my bills? And I started to buy other properties. I moved out of property number 1, rented a master. Now I'm cash flowing $1,000 from property number 1, got into another one. And now I'm living for free in property number 2. And then at that point, I also meet a mastermind group called Go Abundance. And I'm also at the point where I've been 2 years with General Motors, and I'm closing a home every 45 days to 60 days part-time. So I'm like, if I do this part-time, right? If I'm doing it full-time, maybe I can close 1 a month or 2 a month and go from there. So I left my job when I knew that I was in a position to close every 45 days. So it was a calculated risk. A lot of people will say, hey, it's risky to leave your job. Yes, it's risky, but it's a calculated risk. And I remember that I left the job in August of 2015, and in September I made $900, and I was like, crap. Hopefully I did the right decision, because I was making 5 and then that, but I had closings like that were going to close in November or December. But in September I made 900, and I was like, oh man. But to go to your question with what you said, like with your parents and everything, right? Having that conversation with my parents of, hey, I'm going to quit General Motors. And I went to college. I know I have 2 degrees. You guys helped me pay for stuff and everything. I'm going to say bye-bye to that cushy job, to that corporate ladder, to that, like, back then it was a Fortune 5 company, General Motors, right? So it's like the best.
Massive.
And I told my parents, and they were like, are you sure? Like, we support you no matter what, but are you sure you're going to leave all of that stuff to go sell houses?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I have the right mentors. I have the right group. I have the right, like the right business partner. And I told them, I was like, you guys taught me how to hustle. Like, you guys taught me the work ethic. And the good thing about this is that there's no cap. And so they were like, all right, we support you. And yeah, it went from there. Now we started the team and all of that stuff. And now we're the #1 team 2 or 3 years in a row now.
What brokerage?
It is with Keller Williams.
Yeah, you know what? Previous brokers I was working with, More Homes, they connected with your guy, Bustamante.
Andres, yeah.
He's amazing.
Yes.
I was part of that interview. I'm gonna interview him next too, by the way. I'm reaching out to him. Amazing story. I didn't know you both worked until recently, like a month ago. I saw a video of the Wolf of Wall Street thing you guys did, the skit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how much money are you making? I'm gonna comment. I loved it. I'm like, oh my God, that's Diego. That's Andre. And then 2 to 2 I put together. Oh my, you guys work together. He's on your team. By the way, amazing skit for y'all, my audience members that are watching this. Go to Diego's and Andre's, both of their IG. They both did this amazing skit, the Wolf of Wall Street. The whole dialogue you did. Well, how much you making? $75,000. Well, if you show me proof, I'll call my boss right now. They did it to the T. And by the way, I read the captions. It was a true story. I guess that's why I think how you and him met, right? Anyway, amazing story. Okay, man. So real estate started in that sense. That's an amazing 9 to 5 cushy job. Your salary at GM, 80,000.
When I left, it was around 65, I think.
What year?
But it was a college grad, right? So it was like now people, like, if I would have stayed, I know people that are making 180, 150.
Good money.
Really good money. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Top 5% of the American population makes that. Maybe 1% actually makes that, right?
Yeah. But that was in 2013, 2014. So
yeah. Okay. Man, we have very similar stories. I have similar about to talk about my other time. But with you now, okay, so now you're selling homes, KW, work life is great. How old were you when you entered KW and started selling homes?
I was 24. So no beard, 24 years old. My first open house, I was super nervous, and it was an older house. Yeah. And one realtor comes in with their client, and she just asked me questions, and I had no idea. So then I told her maybe this or that. Oh yeah, I think it's this. I had no idea. And then she's like, you're new, right? And I was like, yes, this is my first week and I am brand new. I don't know anything. But I mean, that just comes with experience, right? The more that you do stuff, the more experience you can get.
So 24, 25, man, you're a young buck. Wow.
Yeah. But here's the thing. What happened, what helped me a lot when I was young, like having a mentor was really important, because I leveraged his network. I leveraged his experience. So I could always have somebody that I could call, just ask them questions, and within a couple of minutes have the answer, right? So it was always, hey, it's not just me, it's me and my mentor, or me and my business partner. And I felt like that allowed me to get a lot of experience. And then with that mentor at the time, that now became my business partner, Victor Nino, I did all of his deals in the beginning. So I was the transaction coordinator. I was a paperwork. I was a buyer's agent. I just worked everything, and I got a lot of experience. So then fast forward, when later I began doing my own deals and all of that, I was like, I've been through almost everything, right? So it gave me that experience, and then I was buying homes myself. So I also knew the whole process, not just doing it for other people, but for myself. Yeah, but the one thing that basically gave me that more like confidence and everything, this goes back to what you were talking about, like power of the mastermind and investing in yourself, is that I found myself in a room of 12 millionaires, where you had to be a millionaire to be part of this group. And I was 23 years old at the time. And it was at David Osborne's house. He's worth around 200 million, has a private jet, amazing mentor. And back then his net worth was 40,000. This was in 2014. His net worth was 40 million. So we're going through, so we're going through it through introductions, and guys like 40 million, 10 million, 5 million. And then when it comes to me, I'm like, my name is Diego. My net worth is $25,000. I'm 23 years old. I found about this through Twitter, and I own 2 rental properties. And they were like, who the heck let this kid in? Why is he here? But after that weekend, they told me, Diego, we want you to be our first apprentice. We don't know where this is going, but we want to help you become a millionaire. And since then, my whole life changed. I told the guys, I'm like, look, I turned 24 at this event, and I know that from 24 and on, my life is completely different. 2 weeks later, I was flying on a private plane with David Osborne, and I was just I was a sponge. That was the thing. I was a sponge, just listening to as many conversations as I could, and then I applied it into my life. And when I did that, I began seeing results, and over and over and over again. And then they held me accountable to different things, so that it wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to do this. It was like, hey, by when are you going to do it? Like, they were the ones that helped me quit GM as well. Like, they held me accountable. And, but it wasn't cheap to go to that event, right? At 23 years old, it was like around $2,000 plus the flight, plus I got there earlier, so I had to pay for a hotel and so many different things. Put it on a credit card, but boy, like it changed my life.
Insane. That's the problem. I feel like a lot of so I'm a team leader. I have agents who report to me on my team, and talk to them about quite a bit. And they look at me, if I curse your mother out, they all say, hey, this mastermind is happening. Why don't you go and check it out? And okay, does it cost me anything? Yes, it does. And how much? And I'll tell them, oh, it costs. They look at me like I cursed their mom or grandmother. I'm like, dude, relax. Like, I know you have the money, but people, and for me, by the way, it took me a long time for me to do it myself. The mastermind that you hosted, it took my wife and myself to stop to think about it. And by the way, at that time, we were making really good money. She's a physician. I was the team leader, like I am now, good money. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, this is how much it's going to be, and would it be worth it? And I'm glad we did it. We took it as an investment. I wish other people could do it and be open-minded, because it'll really change their lifestyle. It'll change their life projection. You know what I mean? Talk about mentors. You pay for the mastermind. Did you ever hire a mentor per se?
So I have 2 coaches right now. I have 2 coaches. So the mastermind itself with GoBundance, right? Right now it costs around $12,000 to be part of it, plus events, right? So I've joined other masterminds, I've done other coaching, but right now I have 2 coaches, one for business that we meet twice a month, and then one on the realtor side business for the real estate team, and we meet once a week. So that's the thing.
I'm sure it's costing you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I did the math on since I started this personal development journey, I've probably spent over $250,000 in between events, flights, coaches. I've invested, just with everything, right? Going to Tony Robbins event. Tony Robbins is like $5,000 to go to Date with Destiny, and just like a lot of different things. But if I look at my trajectory of number one, where I'm going and what I've been able to achieve, that is nothing compared to the connections that I've been able to make. Well, and also the knowledge that I've been able to get now and implement, right?
100%.
So yeah, and you
100%.
never know, as a realtor, should you go to an event in California, you tell them, hey, I'm in Austin, Texas. Oh, I can give you a referral. Now all of a sudden I'm making like $12,000 as a realtor from one deal that I went to an event in another state. And that has happened a lot of times. So it's more how you view things, how you view like as like investments. Yeah, really important.
Most people think it's a con show, it's a conning me. Like, what are they gonna come and put money in my pocket? No, like it's like, like for example, I put a lot of weight a year ago. I got myself an amazing trainer who got me leaned up. I'm like, why'd you hire a trainer? Like, do it by yourself. He doesn't pick up the weight for you. They don't understand 100%. The guy's standing next to me, but he helps me with my mindset. He helps me with accountability. He'll call me, hey, Monday morning, you're not here at the gym, what's happening? He'll ask me to send pictures of my food to him. And by doing that, I lost 20 pounds working with this guy. So same principle I apply to having a coach, a financial coach, business coach. I think it's super important. I think I hope that people don't look at it as someone conning you, and look at it as a value proposition. Let's talk about self-educating yourself, right? Self-development. Tony Robbins, would you say Tony Robbins changed your life? Changed your life?
Oh, for sure.
Sure.
For sure. Yeah. Going to those events, just like learning about the power of like physiology, right? And understanding like why we do the things that we do. I would say has changed my life a lot, because he also talks about the art of fulfillment and the science of achievement, right? Achievement is one thing, you're hitting your goals, you're everything, but at the end of the day, you can have all the money that you can have, that you have, but if number one, if you don't like yourself and you're not feeling fulfilled with what you're doing, that money is worthless. And then there's good money and bad money, right? Is good money is money that you get and it recharges you, and then there's money that you get and then it drains you. And it's super important to understand, like, that's one of the things that that with me on my journey of also being around so many millionaires, I got to learn what I liked, what I didn't like. I got to learn, like, okay, why did they do those things? But with Tony Robbins, it's a lot about the fulfillment part that I got to. And then it's like, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? Right. Which is why I have said no to various opportunities that might make me more money. But I'm like, look, I'm not like, once you know how to make money, that is one thing. Once you know how to make money and you come from abundance, right? And the law of attraction and everything, then you know that what you need to do and you're going to get it. Now you have to work for it or create leverage for it, right? But you know how to make money. And once you do that, you become a little bit more like, you get more power. I feel like not more power, but more confidence.
Confidence, good word.
Yeah, you get more confidence. And with that confidence, then comes you saying, hey, dude, I don't need this deal. I'm not going to look into, I don't need to work in this business right now. I'm going to sell or do whatever, because I want to do things that fulfill me, things that make me happy. And I've earned the right now. I've said yes to so many things in the past, that now it's more like, hey, what can I do now of things that will make me feel more fulfilled? Because achievement, I have scratched that, right? We're the number one team. I became a millionaire. Then I did this and I did that. All of those check marks, great. But are you really happy?
Sure.
And that for me has been one of the questions that I've been asking myself in the last year. And I've been in in different transition periods of my life right now of saying yes to things, saying no to things, and having sometimes tough conversations for me to do that, right? But Tony Robbins has been instrumental in having that.
That's amazing. $250,000 is self-development. For my audience listening in and watching this, guys, take notes. I mean, I have a goal this year. I have a budget up to XYZ that I'm going to spend in self-development, and my wife also.
Mhm.
And it's super important. Diego, talk about partnerships. Partnerships can grow you, and partnership can take you down.
Mhm.
Not take you down financially, that too, but take you down spiritually, your mindset.
Mhm.
How did you navigate? And I'm sure people now come to you and say, hey, let's partner on this deal. How to do this? I know you had a partner in the past on a venture you were working on. Explain partnerships and how you think the best way to work with them.
Yeah. So there's always so much to learn. Each partnership is different, right? But what I always tell people is, especially in real estate, right? In this example, is when you're dealing with a partner, there's four things that make you that you can leverage. That is what I call your unfair advantage, right? Everybody has an unfair advantage, whether you're a realtor, like in anything. If you really look at yourself, you can be like, wow, my unfair advantage is that I'm a very good communicator. My unfair advantage can be like, I'm really good at Excel spreadsheets. So as on the real estate side, unfair advantages can be money. Like you have money and you're bankable. Let's say for loans, you have money for the down payment, whatever. You have the knowledge on the market. You have the knowledge of who to call, the market, all of that stuff. Number 3 is time. Maybe like if somebody that works at that's a top executive at a Fortune 10 company, they have the money, maybe they don't have the time, right? And then the other thing is that it is the actual network. So you have your network, you have the knowledge, you have time, and then you have money. So the network is the thing that also can set you apart, because you know the people that you need to talk to. Then you have the time, then you have the money, right? So in my like throughout my journey, I have gone from having a lot of time and no money, and I was doing partnerships where I was the boots on the ground. I was the one setting up, like doing the property management. We bought homes and rented them by the rooms, and I was the one doing everything. And I borrowed I partnered up with somebody that had more cash. And then now I have another business, for example, where I am more the money guy, and I'm leveraging somebody else's experience and their time. So know that those unfair advantages can change through time, but it's very important to have good communication with that business partner, and also to understand like exit strategies. That's something that I've learned now, and this is something that I was chatting with my brother this past weekend. And my brother, he's 27 years old, I'm 32, and he's much more knowledgeable. He's so wise from that perspective that like it's insane. But he was telling me, it's like, dude, whenever in the future when you go into partnerships, right, it's like you need to have that tough conversation of like, hey, I know we're super excited about this venture, super excited about this property, whatever, about this new business, but just know we need to have a conversation, because at some point you're going to buy me out, I'm going to buy you out, we're going to sell, or we're going to close this company. And it's a conversation that's tough, because in the beginning you're like, dude, we're not even making money, why are we having this conversation? It's like, no, right now it's like, what's going to happen? How many years do we need to commit to this? Are we going to be in a commitment, blah blah blah, right? So it's very important to have those unfair advantages. And then the last thing that I'll say on this too is for anybody, highly recommend that you read the book Rocket Fuel. Rocket Fuel basically talks that there's 2 types of people, especially if you are looking into a partnership with just 2. There is the visionary, and there's the integrator. And the visionary is the one with the ideas, with everything, like big thinker. And the integrator is the one that makes sure that everything gets done, or that checks the visionary to make sure that those ideas actually make sense, that they can be implementable. Or if it's just like hopium, right? Like, he's like, oh, this is great. But it's like, no, reality is this. So the integrator is a more realist, more like P&L, visionaries, ideas, connections, and all that stuff. Everybody has both. Everybody has a little bit of visionary, everybody has a little bit of an integrator, but you want to partner up with somebody that it's either more visionary than you or more integrator than you. And understand your roles. I feel like that is very important. That's one of the things that in a lot of the businesses that I've played, because of my tech background, I do play that integrator role. And I've learned like that is a lot of the value that I also bring to the businesses, right? So, but then with that came a lot of me like being on all the time, and it's like, okay, how now I need to leverage, now I need to hire other people, and those are the things I'm working on.
It's incredible. That makes a lot of sense. The visionary and the person who puts it in together, right? It makes a lot of sense. Amazing, man. Before I wrap it up, like, talk to me about your top 3 books.
Yeah, top 3 books. I mean, I mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad. That is one of the main ones. I really like the book Think and Grow Rich. Amazing book. And Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. This is for anybody that's looking to get into that mindset. For money to grow their wealth. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. If you want something more internal, I feel like The Miracle Morning and Start with Why. Those are really good books. But for anybody that's looking to build wealth or to have like financial change, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Your daily habits. So for me, Diego, I learned that habits over anything, mindset over skill set. You could be the best looking, you have the Kennedy name or the Clinton, Obama, Trump name, whatever your last name could be. You could have height, and it's good to have those things in business, as you probably know, you've seen it. However, hustle or outdo talent. Habits, outdo stuff. Discipline for me is a huge thing. You have a daily routine that you wake up and you journaling or visualization, or what do you do? How do you plan?
Yeah, one of the main things is I have so work out in the morning. That's for sure. Either go for a run, gym, whatever. Take a cup of coffee. One of the things that I do is I look at my to-do list for the day, and then I have a checklist of like the top 3 things. That is my, like, we call it the big 3. So what are the big 3 that you have to do today, that I have to do today, to make sure that the needle moves forward? Sure. Those are the things that I do to make sure that I understand everything, so that I can have a productive day. Yeah. Awesome. There are days that I journal. There are days that I look at my there are days that I look at my affirmations and that I say my affirmations too. I don't do it every day. But the main thing that I do is work out and then do my big 3.
Something I learned, I have a good friend, he's a multi-millionaire here in Orlando where I live. He told me to do a gratitude list in the morning and at night. There's some words you said right now with Tony Robbins, I can't pronounce it, but it changes the rhythm of your mindset. Especially when negative things are happening. Yes. You just feel like for yourself, I'm grateful for the fact that I came to America, and I could change the mindset, flip it and do that. And then number 2 thing he told me, and so did Danny Morrell. Danny Morrell is a big time real estate brokerage. Yeah. You know Danny Morrell. Yeah. He's retired now. He's a
He
monk.
Lives in Austin.
Yes, he does. Awesome. I'm following him. He talked about how to do a money statement. I am happy and grateful. I'm earning X, Y, Z or more a month. Write it down 25 times. What that would do, your money mindset, it will stretch it or make it stronger, like muscles. We run. our money mindset is very weak for most of us, and our limiting beliefs are what set us back. But if you can overcome that and do your money statement and say, you know what, he said, for example, if you made $50,000 last year, your money statement should be 3 times that. So I'm happy and grateful. I'm earning $150,000 or more a year. And he goes, if you do that enough, he goes, you'll see it. You'll come to that goal, perhaps even more. So good advice. It helped me a lot. I've been using it. Diego, it's been amazing. I'm going to ask you for a favor. Promise me a date in the future. I'm going to come see you in your city. I'm going to do a face-to-face podcast. I think it's very different to do a face-to-face. You know, energy is different.
Yeah.
I'm going to come see you, man.
That's awesome. We'll make it happen for
We'll
sure.
make it happen, my friend. You know, thank you so much. I look up to you. I'm older than you are, but I look up to you in many ways. So you're doing a great job inspiring many people, man. So God bless you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity. And for anybody that does want to reach out to learn more and stuff, add me on Instagram at Real Diego Corzo, or check out phiinvestors.com, phiinvestors.com. And yeah, look forward to connecting, look forward to staying in touch, and go from there. And look
Before we get going, Diego, talk about so you offer, you're a real estate agent, so you can help people, and your team can help people buy and sell homes in Austin. The number 2 thing you're doing is what type of service do you offer? You have a mastermind?
Yeah, so I have a mastermind. We have around 70 people right now that we're helping them. There's 2 groups. There's the rookies that we're helping them buy their first home, their first investment property, whether it's in their area or out of state. And then we have the elite group. That one is for people that have 2 or more. Okay. And there's people in there that have 15 doors, 25 doors, and we're helping them not only like achieve level of financial independence, right? But also like the mindset that comes to it of like, okay, once you've reached that, what's next? Because those are one of the things, like I teach like the way that I have gone through stuff of like, sure, you have your rentals, sure. And it's going to compound. Once you reach momentum, it just goes on and on and on, but it's like, okay, but what's next, right? So we talk about different aspects of life. We talk about scaling your real estate portfolio for sure, different tactics, I bring different guests. And then we have accountability groups too, so that people can take action and other people get inspired by that. So yeah, anybody that wants to learn more, definitely reach out to me on Instagram.
Beautiful. I'm gonna tag that in the video here. YouTube. This will be available on YouTube on Stroke of Success YouTube channel. Thank you, Diego. Thank you so much for joining us today.
For sure. Thank you, Chrome. Bye.
Thank you. Bye now.